were not expecting to see me, but you are seeing me. Hello. How is everybody doing? I've missed you guys, and I totally have not been ignoring you. It's been a lot going on, okay? A lot going on. Oh my goodness. And I have a little guest in here. It's the baby girl. She's in here. And her brother is sleeping. So I have him on the little monitor. So I'll be checking in on him from time to time. He's right here, sleeping. And she's over here. I'll show you her in just a second. So, OMG, so much has been going on. You wouldn't even believe. I left off on, sorry, I turned on her seat. I left off on the birth of the babies. And I think I kind of summed it up well. I haven't looked at the video. So, okay. So, I just want to let you know where I've been so you can understand. Look, this, honey, this postpartum shedding, these edges, honey, that's another video. So where I've been busy, guys, like really busy. The twins have been keeping me so busy and consumed in the family and adjusting and everything. Okay, who said having twins was easy? Because they lied. Like, they really lied. And I'm not saying I had twins because of what someone said. I really didn't, but it's been very hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's been very hard, challenging. This is the most challenging thing I have ever done. It's definitely worth it, considering everything that we've been through over the years, like with infertility and losses and things like that. It's just very challenging, especially because you know, I don't know how you guys' life is set up, but my husband goes to work, and the timing that we had these babies, my kids were going back to school. So, jail. So having these twins, I'm at home by myself majority of the day. The girls leave at about 6 something to go to school, and my husband kind of leaves around 5:30 so he could be home earlier. Sometimes he leaves around 6. So the girls get home around 3, and my husband, sometimes he gets home earlier than that, sometimes he gets home later than that. So I am here with them. OMG. So here's baby girl. She is whining. She wants to get up. Now, excuse her, she's in a onesie. I did not plan on recording anything today. I know, Mama. I didn't plan on recording anything today. I was just watching like some motivation, like things to do. Not things to do, but you know, I was just motivated to do a video today. So here's baby girl. Everybody says she looks just like me. This is Miss Legacy. Legacy, and her brother is Legend. So say hi, Mama. Come say hi. She is 2 months. They'll be 3 months on the 28th. Look at baby girl. Look at her. She doesn't like headbands. So I see it's a little cocked in this video, but we'll be alright. So yes, my husband was only wanting first letter names to be the same. So we were thinking about Journey, but a lot of people in the infertility community were naming their babies Journey. I mean, hey, it's been a journey for us all, so I completely understand. But I did want her name to be Journey, just because it had a lot of meaning behind our struggle. And so The name that my husband wanted was Jaden, Jalen, or something like that. I didn't really want those names, so I kind of started over. We didn't really come up with these names until maybe like 2 weeks before we actually had the babies. Um, so, and keep in mind they came 2 weeks early than, like, let's see, well, like a week and a half earlier than the planned C-section. 4 weeks earlier than the expected delivery date, but everybody know with twins, you don't go 40 weeks. But anyway, so yeah. But anyway, where have I been? Okay. I'm gonna talk about like getting discharged from the hospital because that's kind of where it all goes. They, maybe like the second day that they were, maybe like the day and a half, like, y'all, okay, so I made a video, like the birth video, and I was just talking about, you know, I was just supposed to go to the hospital to get my blood pressure checked, right? I got my rings back. But anyway, I was just supposed to go to get my blood pressure checked or monitored, and the girl put the catheter in and it was not in there properly, and it just hurted so bad when she put it in there. She was barely able to get any urine out. Okay, so while the catheter was in there, let me back up. Oh my goodness. They wanted to check me for preeclampsia. They did not want to get a urine sample, like me peeing a cup. They wanted it directly from the bladder, so they had to do a catheter. So when she put it in, it was burning and it was just horrible. So when she took it out, I saw the blood was on the tip, and I was like, that was not right. I've had 2 babies, so I've had a catheter before, and during the, I don't know, during the egg retrieval, you have a catheter, I think. Look, I don't know, but I know they want you to pee before you go, so I assume you have a catheter. But anyway, I've had catheters before. Never has that happened before. Okay. Uh-oh, mama. Uh-oh, mama. So, after that, I got up, went to the bathroom. Before that, yeah, I got up, went to the bathroom. I think I covered some of this already, but I got up, went to the bathroom, started having contractions, didn't stop having contractions. They checked me to see if I was dilated. I wasn't dilated at that point. They wanted to do a ultrasound to check baby boy, to make sure he was okay because he wasn't moving like she was. So long story short, the ultrasound turned out fine. When I got back from I was having major contractions during the ultrasound in the hospital. When I got back up to the room, those contractions were, man, I just knew they were gonna give me something to stop the contractions. That's what I was hoping for. But that did not happen. She checked me and I was 3 centimeters dilated, and she said that she felt the bulging bag, and I didn't go home, I delivered. So I said that to say I had been up all day, okay? I got the message to go to the hospital around 10, 11. I didn't get to the hospital till maybe like 1 o'clock or so, a little bit after 1. And long story short, we delivered at 1:04 and 1:05 a.m. the next day. So I was up. So things are kind of like, when I say the days, I kind of get them mixed up because, you know, I know what day it was, but like day 1, day 2, like the days was kind of running close together. But anyway, sorry about the extra spillage, but y'all say y'all like my long videos, so this is gonna be one. So they was kind of concerned about the baby's jaundice levels. Both of their levels were rising. So they were delivered on a Wednesday. We got to go home on a Friday. They didn't want to let me go home because like my hemoglobin level was low. It was a 21. And I don't accept blood, so that was like concerning for them because they thought that I was too weak to take care of the babies. They thought I didn't have enough help at home, and yeah, it was a lot because they were saying that the people with that level of 21 are needing a blood transfusion. But my blood has been low before. I've been anemic before. It's been down to like, I had an ectopic surgery, of emergency surgery. My tube had ruptured and it had got down to like a 9. So it's been low before. So with that level, I really wasn't concerned because it had been lower before. Before the C-section, it was like a 33, 34, 35, somewhere around that. So yeah. But anyway, that was one concern. Another concern was the babies were not 3 days old. They said that the babies have to be at least 30. Well, with having babies before 36 weeks or at 36 weeks, they want you to stay 72 hours. Hey, mama. They want you to stay 72 hours. And our 72 hours wouldn't have been up at the time that we left. It would have been up at 1:04, 1:05 a.m. Saturday, and they don't discharge that time. So they really wanted us to go then. Sorry about these lights. The babies love these lights. This was my daughter's old room, and we moved her downstairs and made this out of the nursery for the babies. And so she proceeded to take the lights down, and some of the paint started to come off, so I made her keep the lights up there. But it has been a hit in the baby's room because they loved it. So if you're a mom getting ready to have a baby, maybe get some lights. They love this red light. It has a bunch of different lights on it, but red is one of the first colors the babies can see, and they recognize it like really, really good. But anyway, so yes, like, look, all these sidebars, this is crazy. I haven't been on here in a minute, so you guys, it's just so much to talk about. Okay, so that was a concern. So 2 concerns: my blood, and the babies weren't old enough to leave the hospital. So obviously they needed the room because they came back and let us go. They discharged us. So look at baby girl, she went to sleep. So they let us go, and they made a follow-up appointment for Monday. Now we got to leave on a Friday. Wait a minute. Yep, we got to leave on a Friday. They made a follow-up appointment for Monday at the baby's doctor's pediatrician, which my girls, when I had them, oh my God, we had an amazing pediatrician, and he retired during the pandemic of last year. So he's unfortunately not the baby's pediatrician, so I had no idea who I wanted to be their pediatrician, so they assigned one. So we just went there to get, it was a follow-up appointment for their jaundice level, and the appointment was like at 10:50. I remember this so well. Oh my goodness. So we got there, and they tested Legacy's blood. Well, they tested Legacy's jaundice level, and hers was fine. They done it with the little thing that they put on their head or in their chest, and then they tested Legends, and his was not. Leaving the hospital, his was a 12, and I think hers was maybe like maybe a 10 or something like that. If you don't know, the jaundice, it has something to do with their liver function, and it kind of tells you if their liver is functioning properly, just because like with babies born early, like they're not all the way, they're fully developed, but you know, some things kind of mature later on, and it may not be working all the way. So Legend was peeing and pooping. It wasn't enough for, you know, his body to, it wasn't like working good enough. So the jaundice, they tend to get yellow. He was fine leaving the hospital. Saturday night, I kind of noticed him being like a little bit more yellowish, and then Sunday I saw his eyes yellowing. So I mean, it was August, I forget what date. Let me get my phone. But it was hot. I'm in Tennessee. It was hot. y'all. It was hot, and I took him outside. I had him on a onesie because, I mean, it's, you know, you're trying to cool your house off in the winter. I mean, not in the winter, in the summer. And it was just hot, and he got like, I saw like the heat lumps coming up on him. So, so they let us go July the 30th. And, well, August 1st was on a Monday. That was the day of their appointment. But anyway, so that must have, well, no. August 1st was a Sunday. So it was very hot. But anyway, so we went to that appointment. They tested it with the machine, but they said, you know, they have to take the blood. They said the machine was really accurate, but they had to take the blood to confirm. So they took the blood. It takes an hour for the results to come back. So they told us to just go get something to eat and then come back. And the results came back, and his level was, excuse me, I think it was like a 15 or so. And they had to admit my baby at 5 days old. I was so emotional, just seeing all of that. For one, them taking their blood. They take the baby's blood in the heel. And, you know, my baby's umbilical cord was still on, and they, mama, you woke up? Yeah, I know it. You don't want that? Yeah, mama. Okay. Okay, you want mommy hold you? Yeah, I know it, girlfriend. Yes. Okay, mama. Okay. So yeah, they admitted him, and when they, okay, so at 10:50, we had to wait an hour for the results to come back. So around 12 something, the results came back, and they were gonna admit him to the children's hospital there. They had to wait until they got a emergency room for him, and that wasn't until 4 o'clock. And then they had to get him to the NICU for him to, so they had the lights. I'm gonna insert videos and pictures and whatnot. And they, long story short, they admitted him, and they had to admit him to the NICU. That was around like 12 a.m. We had packed enough for the doctor's appointment because we just figured, hey, you know, you pack a bag. I mean, we have twins, so we had like a diaper full of, I mean, not a diaper, but a bag full of diapers and, you know, some milk. But just staying there that long, that was very, we didn't anticipate that at all. We didn't even know that, I mean, it was a lot, y'all. It was a lot. So we ran out of we ran out of milk. We ran out of diapers. They didn't know if we would be able to keep Legacy. So we lived over an hour away. Y'all heard me say this many times. And it was like, where you're just going to have to decide. You may have to decide who's going to stay with the baby and who's going to go home with the other baby. That was an option. I was not going to leave my baby. You know, so we just kind of just stayed there. They made accommodations for her to stay as well. So he ended up staying there for overnight, and then the next day they released us because his jaundice level came back down to a 12. So, which was good. That's where it was, like leaving the hospital. So they said once it goes down, it should not come back up. But anyway, they made us a follow-up appointment at the next doctor's visit. The next day, oh my God, the very next day. So we had got discharged, had to go back to the pediatrician the next day for follow-up to get it checked. And you know, I had a C-section, so that was very, very, very hard on my body. You know, I'm not the patient, so me getting a wheelchair and all of that, that was not happening, you know. And it was hard, and it definitely made my recovery hard, because I wasn't comfortable, you know, in my bed. And they give you narcotics and things to take home, but I didn't take them just because I wanted to be aware of what was going on with my baby in the hospital. And it was, I mean, it wasn't a bed that we slept on. It was kind of like a little cot that me and my husband had to share. And they did give Legacy a, they did give her, they did give her a little nursery bed to sleep on. Legends waking up. Hang on, I'll be right back. Let me go get him. Okay, guys, my husband got Legend. So anyway, we had a follow-up appointment at the doctor's office, and his level was down to a 12, so it did go down. It was still down at that appointment that next day, so that was good. He didn't have to go back to the hospital for that. Then I didn't have to get Legend because Daddy got him. But anyway, then I'm trying to get everything in order. Let me look at my phone so I can get the dates together. So after that, that was August the 4th. No, August the 3rd. Wait a minute, that was August the 4th. Yeah, that he had the follow-up appointment. And I was just hurting so bad. When I came home from the hospital, like, my bleeding was perfect. It was like pink and light, and you know, all of that walking and stuff that I had to do at the hospital and doctor's appointments and stuff like that. It was back like I had just had the babies. And it wasn't bad, just from having a natural vaginal birth. Bleeding is more significant than having a C-section. That was my first C-section, so it wasn't bad at all. But doing all of that, walking and stuff, it definitely made my bleeding heavy. And I was like, oh, I gotta get some rest. So they were fine. They didn't have to do another appointment until that next week. So they done an appointment. They turn a week old every Wednesday. A week older every Wednesday. So they had a 2-week follow-up appointment after that following week. So I had like a week to rest. And I was starting to feel better like the Monday before their appointment. And you know, just better. I was like, okay, good. And I'm feeling better, and maybe I can start driving, and you know, things get back to normal. Their appointment, fine. Everything checked out just fine, perfect, nothing bad or anything at that appointment. But me, however, I had started to bleed heavy. I want to say that Thursday after the appointment, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm having a setback. It was like just gushes of blood just coming out. I remember I was washing dishes, and it was just like gushes of blood coming out. It was like 4 gushes, and I was like, oh no. And I never had that happen, so I was just worried just because of my blood level, which, you know, they sent me home to take the iron pills and all of that. So, you know, I was doing that, and I was just concerned, you know, what was going on. So I called my husband, and I laid down, and I had called my mom to try to come and help me take care of the babies. She lives in a different state, and you know, she had some things going on there. So long story short, it was just me here, and my husband, he was in the other, you know, city where we used to live at his job, maybe like an hour 45 minutes to an hour away, and the girls were at school, so it was just me here by the babies, which it made me so very nervous. But I laid down, and it didn't happen anymore. So I was like, okay. But I did message my doctor, let them know what was going on, and they were like, well, it's probably because of increased activity. You know, things are getting back to normal now, and you know, just take it easy. You know, I thought maybe because I had that day, I had took my girls to school, because school had started, and I took the girls to school, and I carried the car seats back up the stairs from from taking them to school. So I took them to school, the girls carried them down for me. But when I had to come back home by myself, I had to bring them back upstairs. And I didn't do one at a time. I just went ahead and, strong armed it, tried to do two at a time, bring them up the steps. And later on that day, that's what happened. Like, I was trying to get them adjusted to their room, their bed. So I was, not pulling them, but lifting them over the crib. Which, these cribs now, they don't slide down like they used to do when my girls were younger. And they had the crib, and you could let the crib up and down, but these don't. So they're just in one position, and you just have to lift it that way. So I thought, and I did some dishes. I was trying to straighten up, and I thought maybe that was why. But anyway, didn't happen anymore that day. So the next day, it had been a whole 24 hours. It hadn't done it again. And that was maybe around 11, 12 when that happened. And so that next day, maybe like at 3 o'clock, it happened again. And my husband was coming home early, just to kind of relieve me. So I could rest. And I called him, and I'm like, babe, I'm going to have to go to the hospital. Like, it was so much blood this time, and I took a picture of it. It looked like somebody had literally shot me. Blood was all over the floor in my bathroom, and I'm like, this is not normal. It cannot be increased activity. Like, if this happened at Walmart, I'm just bleeding like this, they would think something's wrong with me. Like, they would think I'm about to die. So this is not normal. So we packed up. We took plenty of diapers. We took plenty of milk. We took plenty of everything, just because I didn't know what was going to happen. I messaged my doctor again, let them know it happened again. They said I needed to come in. The on-call nurse, she had called me back, and she was like, I think you still have like placenta tissues, still left behind. I get to the hospital, tell them that. They was like, we don't think so. They checked my blood level, my blood. So when I got to the hospital, they were dismissive, and that didn't sit well with me, because this is not my first time having children, my first C-section. But don't be dismissive, because Black women are, I don't know how many times likely, it's way more likely for us to be mishandled when it comes to our care, like during childbirth. Like, our number is higher in death through childbirth, just because we don't get the same level of care, and that is unacceptable. So me going in knowing that, and knowing that I was going to have a C-section, I kind of prepared my mind for that around May, June, to speak up. Don't let anybody tell me something and I know it's not right. Like, I'm definitely going to speak up and, say how I feel, just to make sure my level of care meets my expectations. Because I got to be around for my children, my family, these babies we work so hard to get here. But anyway, so yeah, she was very dismissive. She was like, well, I was concerned about my blood levels, so she took my blood count, and that was fine. It was like a 35. It had rose, really good. So I was like, oh my goodness. I was so happy about that. And so she was like, well, if your blood level is low, that is why the blood loss. It was like some dumb reason she gave me. And so she was like, and if your blood count is low, then that's why you're losing the blood. But anyway, her strategy didn't come back as she wanted. My blood level was higher than it was when I left the hospital. And so she was like, okay, we have to check something else. We have to do an ultrasound, which that's what I was told needed to be done before I even got there. They didn't want to order an ultrasound for some reason. I don't know. She was just trying to send me home, but I was like, no. So she done my blood. When that came back, they ordered me an ultrasound. And yes, there was remaining tissue there. Remaining placenta parts, and tissue left over behind from the C-section. So they admitted me at that point because I had to go back to labor and delivery. Because the babies were just, let's see, I think they were like 15 days old at that point. And they admitted me, and they told me, I was thinking that I didn't know what to expect. I was like, oh my God. They looked at my incision. They was like, it's not from that. I thought they were gonna, open me back up through the incision, but they was like, no, we're gonna do a DNC. And I was like, oh, okay, a DNC. I had to do that before with the twin miscarriage that we had. So I was like, okay, I had done that before. But at a hospital, I think it's a little bit different. I just felt different after that than I did with the fertility clinic doing it. But anyway, they said that they said that they could not do it that night. By the time they got everything back, and they done the ultrasound, it was like maybe 9-10 o'clock. So they said that they couldn't do it then, that night, because they had like dealt with a lot of COVID patients or whatnot, and I guess everybody was tired. I don't know. And so they was like, it's gonna be done the first thing in the morning around 7 o'clock. I'll be first on the list, 6-7 o'clock, and I'm like, perfect, okay. So I couldn't eat anything before after 12, so they brought us like some stuff to eat. The surgery didn't happen until like 1 o'clock. And then you have to recover, blah blah blah. They let me go home that same day, because I wanted to go home, but they kind of wanted to keep me just for observation. But they was like, it's not really anything that your body's going to be doing right now. They will let us know if this did not work or not, but they were pretty certain that it did. So they told me, that day out of the DNC, I wasn't bleeding. I bled like a little bit just from the DNC, but after that, I didn't have any bleeding at all the rest of the day. And then the next day, I didn't have any bleeding, but the day after that, I started having bleeding. I'm like, why am I bleeding again? Oh my God, it made me so nervous. And that surgery was done August the 14th. Okay, I had the babies July the 28th, so that was August the 14th. And the next week, I'm bleeding again. I mean, the few days I'm bleeding again. So maybe like 6 days into this bleeding, I messaged my doctor and I'm like, hey, I am bleeding again and I am concerned. It was heavy, getting heavier by the day, and they was like, oh, it's your period. They even scheduled me an appointment, and at the ER, they told me if it started happening again, come to the ER, come back, you know. But I called my doctor, and of course she couldn't see me, so I had to see some other doctor. And I told her that I needed to do an ultrasound. Of course, you know, they move on their own will. So they move on their own will. She didn't do an ultrasound. She wanted to do a pelvic exam, and I'm like, why do we need to do a pelvic exam? Oh my goodness, this battery. She wanted to do a pelvic exam, and I'm like, why do we need to do that? She wanted to do that just to determine where the bleeding's coming from. Like, to determine where the bleeding is coming from. Where do women bleed from? That kind of pissed me off. But anyway, I didn't let her do that, so probably why she didn't order my ultrasound. But I don't think she was gonna order the ultrasound anyway. So she was like, "Oh, that's your period." Da 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 da. Okay, I'm gonna cut these lights off, y'all, because I need this. So she didn't order the ultrasound. Okay, she didn't order the ultrasound and sent me home. She, you know, done my blood count, and she was like, your blood count shouldn't be low. You know, if you're bleeding just for your period, it shouldn't be low. Got the results back. My blood count was lower. She was like, this is a little alarming. You know, it may not be your period. After all, I was already going home. Because she insisted she knew what she was talking about. So she was like, if this doesn't clear up in such and such an amount of days, you know, let me know. She wanted me to check my blood pressure because my blood pressure was high. It had been high since all of this stuff happened, you know, just because I'm concerned what is going on with my body. Now, this appointment was the, let me see, I can tell you when this appointment was. So this appointment was the 24th of August. And I eventually stopped bleeding. So that was the 24th. So I stopped bleeding somewhere around Labor Day. And yeah, from the DNC, I was bleeding maybe like 3 weeks, and then I stopped, and then for maybe like a few days, then I started back. I'm like, okay, if this is my period, then if that was my period, then what is this? Or if this is my period, then what was that other bleeding that I had a little while ago? So y'all, this has been so exhausting. So I called them and like, hey, I'm bleeding heavy again. What's going on? So they tried to do another doctor's appointment. The babies ended up having a doctor's appointment that exact same day. Maybe about 30 minutes from where I would have been at the doctor's office had I went to the doctor. But I decided just to go to the ER because I didn't like what was going on. So what I done was just go to the ER. That was September the 15th. And when I went there, the babies were like 7 weeks old that day. It was like, oh, you know, we can't see you here because, you know, you're past 6 weeks. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like this, it really, it's crazy. That was September the 15th. And when I go there, they do an ultrasound. Like, my blood pressure was high. I'm just tired of these people at this point, not knowing what's going on. I'm still bleeding. Like my baby was born in July. This is September. Why in the heck am I still bleeding? And I had a C-section. Like, figure this out. This is crazy. So anyway, I get there, and you know, long story short, they're like, well, you may have gotten an infection from the C-section and then coming back around and having a DNC. So that could be one part of it that they think. And then the other part of it was that the other part of it was that my body just take this off of her. She don't like headbands. But the other part of it was that they didn't know. They were saying that my body didn't know what was going on. Like it was trying to figure everything out. Look at my baby's hair. Yeah, they said my body was trying to figure everything out. So yeah, that was the other thing. And I was like, that doesn't even make sense. So anyway, long story short, they gave me progesterone. They gave me an antibiotic to help clear up the infection that they thought I might have had. And the progesterone that they gave me was the oral progesterone, and I had to take that for 30 days. And maybe by the third day, I felt like the progesterone was working. And it did help to slow the bleeding down. And maybe like a week into it, the bleeding kind of tapered off a little bit. By the second week, I don't think I was bleeding anymore. And then the third week, I started having like a little bit of like pinkish. I was like, oh my god, this is not working. My body is just like not feeling it at all. But anyway, while I was on the progesterone, I did have breakthrough bleeding, and it was beginning to kind of pick up. Now I kind of intervened myself, and I got some Vitex and red raspberry leaf capsules. Now I got these to help regulate my periods, not necessarily regulate because I had regular periods, but they were shorter. And I got that to try to make sure that I was ovulating, and you know the red raspberry is good. You just have to look at it. I just got that like before I started going through that fertility to try to help my body do what it was supposed to do for us to get pregnant. But one regulates your cycle. The Vitex, I think, regulates your cycle. So I was using that to try to help lengthen. This was in the past. I was using it to help lengthen my cycle because I think it was like 25 days. And then the red raspberry leaf I had got because it's supposed to help tone your uterus and things like that. So I had strengthened and toned, and I had got those for that. So I was like, okay, I got 5 days left of the progesterone. While I'm going through the progesterone, let me start this just to help my body like get to what it was doing, because I did not want to go back to the doctor where they didn't know what they was talking about. And yeah, I was just tired of that. So doing that, the bleeding stopped finally, y'all. Stopped finally. And I was supposed to go back to work on the 21st of September, but I told my doctor there's no way that I'm going back to work with all of this going on. You're gonna have to lengthen my leave. And so I don't even know if my doctor even sent the paperwork in, to be honest. But I was supposed to go back to work on the 21st, and I didn't. They denied my leave, and I didn't even go back to work the time that I was supposed to. But you know, my job is still sending me stuff, so I'm still employed. I actually go back to work tomorrow. That's my date that originally, for my original due date, the date that I was supposed to go back. So I'm like, that's when I go back. But it's so crazy just because I think I have been bleeding for like maybe 2 weeks now, and from July all the way to then, like, that's just too much. So me, that's where I've been, and then in between that, we had to take Legend to the hospital. Not to the hospital, but to the doctor's appointment 3 times. One time, well, 2 times it was us that initiated the appointment. One was Legend had blood in his stool, and I'm like, well, what is going on? So no, actually, that started like on a Saturday or Sunday, and he had an appointment that Monday or Tuesday. So it was like, we'll address it at that appointment. And so turns out he had a milk allergy to the milk that he was on. So he is on soy milk now. That did clear up. And then that next week after that, he started to get like a rash on his face. And I'm like, what is going on? Is this because of the new milk or what? You know, it was so much going on. Like, it seemed like every time something dissolved or, you know, cleared up or whatever, one problem stopped, another one started. And it was just a lot. It was a lot. And then the rash, they said it was heat. They said it was heat. And yeah, they said it was heat. We did change Legacy's milk too, because when she wasn't pooping like she was supposed to. But honey, I think at her 2-week appointment or so, no, I think maybe her 2-week appointment, we addressed it, and they done like the anal thermometer for her, and she just started going. Honey, she just started going. It was, my baby girl was she was stopped up. But yeah, we ended up having to change her milk. So she's like on a total comfort milk for her stomach, and Legend is on soy. My youngest baby girl, she done soy. I say baby girl, she's 14, but she had to do soy milk because she kept throwing up the milk. She couldn't keep the milk down, and so we had to put her on soy for that. But he was on soy for, so he's on soy for a totally different reason. So we have to mark the bottles, like Legacy's bottles and Legend's bottles. They are marked to let us know whose bottle is which. But we have occasionally got it mixed up, and I could tell because that blood in the stool happens again. So we gotta be careful. And he is like really fussy when that happens. So we just gotta be careful, you know, not to give him Legacy's milk. So yeah, guys, that is where I've been. I will do a more in-depth video about Legend's hospital stay with his jaundice, because it was, oh my goodness, it was a lot going on with that. And you know, it was very emotional just to see a baby laying there like that. Nothing you can do, but I'll go back into depth with that. And then I don't think I'll do like my DNC experience in the hospital. I'm just trying to put all of that behind me, but I will do the bilirubin / jaundice video, just in case there's any parents out there that, you know, don't know what to expect going into that. And I'll do that. But a DNC is plenty of YouTube videos out there. But this video, definitely, ladies, some of you may be, you know, getting ready to have a baby, or, you know, just thinking about going through this experience. Definitely speak up, because, honey, I don't know. And you know, they say if like the issue is unaddressed with the placenta and all of that, long story short, if it's not addressed and it goes on for so long, you may have to have a hysterectomy. Okay, we are part of the infertility community, and you telling us we're gonna have to have a hysterectomy because of something that y'all didn't do right? No. So definitely speak up. You don't want something to go prolonged and not be addressed. But yeah, so that's where I've been, y'all. Hope you guys accept this video in my absence. Yeah, so now that all of that's cleared up, I'm gonna do the one for the jaundice, and then after that I'll start doing videos, like, you know, just so you can see the babies, and, you know, just see how I am on a daily basis, like what I go through with these newborns. Like, whew, y'all, it's challenging. Alright, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you guys are doing well. Bye.